but Shedeur seemed to have the highlights of the day. And I want to go deeper into this because, you know, this is a really good situation. This is a really good look and litmus test to see, like, hey, what are the things that Shedeur was being asked to do? What is he doing, right? The first thing you see is, you know, it's a look, 1, 2, 3 step drop. He hitches and he's releasing the ball. There is no looking, there's no thinking, he's not reading. He sees what he wants to see. Watch his head. He sees what he wants to see. He starts kind of in the middle here.
The Cleveland Browns may have already made their quarterback decision. They just haven't said it yet. Which is strange, because the man they've publicly committed to, the one with the fully guaranteed money in the press conference language, threw one interception today and couldn't find an answer, and held the ball and stared down his tight end until a defender read his eyes and took it away from him. And the rookie, the one the media spent 6 months telling you wasn't ready, he was dropping bombs. By the end of this video, you're going to watch 2 throws back to back from 2 quarterbacks in the same system on the same field against the same defense, and you're going to understand something about this franchise that the depth chart won't tell you. Something about what happens when a player decides the competition is already over, and what happens when a team realizes they might agree.
He goes, he actually looks off. So I think he was over here, looks more towards the middle, and then looks over. Now this, if you remember the ball that Jerry Jeudy handed off to a defender, he did a similar thing here where he tries to freeze that safety and then pushes the ball out very accurately. And this one I feel like is even deeper. It's over the top. It's not a back shoulder. You hear all them flashes, don't you? You hear all them flashes because they knew what it was, man. And Isaiah Bond able to hold on to it, man.
Let's go back to one moment. Not a season, not a stretch of bad games. One moment. Myles Garrett, the best defensive player on this team for the better part of a decade, the man they built their identity around, is gone. Traded. And not traded in February when the off-season moves feel like chess. Traded in the middle of OTAs. In the middle of a quarterback competition, in the middle of a moment where the entire locker room is watching to see who this organization actually believes in. That's the wound. Not the trade itself, the timing of it. Organizations make trades, but the timing of a trade tells you everything about what that front office is actually thinking. When you trade your anchor in the middle of a quarterback battle, you're not just reshaping the defense. You're sending a message to everyone in that building. You're saying, we're in rebuild mode, we're in transition, and whoever steps up right now, whoever claims this moment, that's our guy. The outside world saw a blockbuster trade. The Browns' locker room saw an open invitation, and Shedeur Sanders heard it loud and clear.
Man, look at the ball placement though, right? We're not just going to sit here and say, oh, well, Shedeur has a deep ball, he's a deep ball. No, man, he don't just got a deep ball. He's got a very accurate deep ball. You know, pause if need be, but my goodness, Isaiah Bond, the former Texas burner, comes up big, and y'all knew what it was with them two, with the connection. Hey, and shout out Taylor Green. Hey, man, I told y'all I rocks with Taylor Green now. This is my guy, right? Look how excited Taylor Green is. I mean, it's a touchdown.
Day 8, OTAs. Media's on the sideline, and from the very first reports coming out of practice, Shedeur Sanders is running with the ones, first-team reps, not sharing, not rotating every series. Most of the day, according to multiple beat reporters on the ground, he had the ones. Now, the coaches haven't said that publicly. Todd McLaughlin hasn't walked to the podium and declared a starter, but the reps don't lie. The reps are the depth chart before the depth chart changes. Quote that sounds routine, but means something deeper. Ashley Bostow, one of the better beat reporters covering this team, tweeted mid-practice, Sanders has been with the ones basically all day. That's not an analysis, that's a field observation. And when 2 separate reporters independently note the same thing without coordinating, that's not noise, that's signal. Now think about the context. The day after, or 2 days after, depending on how you track it, the Myles Garrett trade goes through. Shedeur Sanders gets the first-team reps. You want to call that a coincidence? Organizations don't run coincidences that cost them anything. The Garrett trade shook the building, and the first thing that happened in the building after the shake was Shedeur running with the ones. Quarterback tracker comes out, Shedeur sits just under 50% completion. Deshaun Watson, similar number, except Watson threw an interception, Shedeur didn't. And on a day where the defense reportedly had one of its best performances of the whole OTA window, you tell me who won that day. When was the last time you saw a franchise hand first-team reps to a rookie the day after their biggest trade in a decade, if they weren't already leaning somewhere?
Each other, but after a Myles Garrett trade, it seems like Shedeur is back up taking first team reps again. So you love to see that. That's actually so crazy. As I'm making the video, I get a notification. Another great reporter, by the way, Ashley Bostock. She does some great things as well. She tweets the same exact thing. Again, this has been a sentiment today that look, Shedeur Sanders to Isaiah Bond. We watched that D-bomb. I ain't gonna touch the button. But Sanders has been with the ones basically all.
Let's talk about what's actually happening in these two quarterbacks' minds. Because this isn't just football. This is psychology under a microscope. Watch Shedeur's head movement on the deep ball to Isaiah Bond. He comes to the line. He's already reading the middle of the field. His eyes drag across, slowly toward the safety. He looks off, he locks on, and he throws it. Not hesitates, not checks down. Throws it. Over a defender, 60 yards in the air, on a rope. That's perceived locus of control. That's a player whose body language, whose pre-snap read, his eyes, his release, tells you he believes he controls what happens next. He doesn't play like someone in a competition. He plays like someone who's already won it and is just showing you the receipts. Now watch Deshaun Watson on the interception. His eyes go to the tight end early, and they stay there, and they stay there, and a defender reads those eyes and sits on the route and takes the ball away. That's not just a bad throw, that's identity threat made visible. When a quarterback's entire professional self-concept is built on being the guy, and suddenly there's a 22-year-old on the other sideline making him look ordinary, the body starts operating from fear before the brain processes it. The stare down isn't a technique flaw, it's the tell. It's the tell of a man who is no longer sure he belongs here and trying to force himself to believe otherwise on every single snap. Now look at the organizational psychology. When Todd McLaughlin talks about Shedeur, listen to what he doesn't say. He doesn't say he needs time. He doesn't say we want to be patient with him. Those are hedge words. Those are protection words. Organizations use them when they're worried. He talks about what Shedeur is doing well. That's commitment behavior. Subtle, but real. Think about it from Shedeur's point of view for a second. You come into this building after being told all offseason that you're behind a starter who hasn't looked like a franchise quarterback in 3 years, and then the trade happens, and then you get the ones. What does a competitor do with that energy? He doesn't manage it, he unleashes it, and that's exactly what Day 8 looked like.
Watson interception too, because for all the things that have been now said positive about Deshaun, there is a lot of negativity about him, and he's known to take some sacks and hold the ball and really not make the greatest decision and know what he's looking at all the time, right? So first, I want to show you this, right? I talk about head movement because it's telling you what the quarterback is trying to process right now. So Deshaun Watson's eyes are looking where? They're looking right here, right there. So
Here's how to read what this organization is actually communicating, without listening to what they say out loud. First, the rep distribution. We've covered this. First team reps for the rookie, day 8 post-trade. When the depth chart is stable, veterans run with the wants. When it's in flux, real flux, not theater, the coaching staff puts the guy they're most curious about with the best players. They want to see what he looks like under pressure, with real weapons against a real defense. That's not development. That's evaluation. You evaluate the guy you're considering starting. Second, the reporters on the ground aren't writing about Deshaun Watson's mechanics today. They're tweeting deep bombs and touchdowns and Sanders with the ones. Beat reporters follow access. Access follows interest, and interest follows where the organization is actually looking. Third, when McLaughlin says, and I'm paraphrasing, Shedeur has been taking first-team reps without volunteering a correction, without saying that'll change, without qualifying it, what he's actually saying is, we're watching this unfold, and we like what we see. He didn't say the competition is closed, but he didn't say it's open either. That gap is the tell. That gap is where franchises live before they make announcements. But to understand why this moment matters, we have to go back to the draft, because people forget, Shedeur Sanders didn't fall out of the first round because of talent concerns. He fell because of political theater. Teams running up on calls, front offices playing games, narratives around his dad, and Cleveland still took him, which means someone in that building saw what the rest of the league was pretending not to see. And that person is now watching Day 8 of OTAs very carefully. In that building right now, 45 to 52 men are watching this play out. Wide receivers notice who throws them the ball in red zone periods. Offensive linemen notice who's calling protections with confidence. Special teams players notice who the coaches are gravitating toward. The locker room doesn't need a press conference. They already know. And the fact that Isaiah Bond, Shedeur's guy, his connection from before the NFL, is making plays, that chemistry doesn't form in camp. It was already there, and the rest of that offense knows it. If the evidence resolves the way it looks, if Shedeur is the starter by week 1, the Browns are not a rebuilding team. They're an ascending one. A first-year starter with arm talent, pocket control, and an already established connection with their playmakers, with Jared Verse coming in to anchor the defense alongside what remains of that unit, that's not a 4-win team. That's a team that can surprise someone in January. In 3 years, we're either going to look back at Day 8 of the 2026 OTAs as the day Shedeur Sanders announced himself, and Cleveland will feel like they found their quarterback in the rubble of a Myles Garrett trade. Or we're going to say they saw it and they flinched. They gave the reps and then pulled back, and that hesitation cost them the window. Either way, this day already means something. That's how rare it is to watch a player outgrow his own situation in real time. We opened this video saying the Browns may have already made their quarterback decision. They just haven't told anyone yet. The reps told you. The deep ball told you. The interception from the other guy told you. They've already made this decision. They're just waiting for the calendar to catch up. Because underneath all of it, past the rep counts and the quarterback tracker and the depth chart shuffles, there's a 22-year-old who has watched the entire NFL apparatus try to talk itself out of believing in him, who has heard every take about his father and his NIL and his draft stock and his attitude, who sat in the green room longer than he should have, who came into this building with something to prove, not to the coaches or the reporters, but to himself. And on Day 8, with first-team reps and the defense flying around him, he dropped a bomb on the back shoulder of his favorite target in front of all of them. And the cameras were on because they knew what it was. They heard the flashes. So here's what I need you to think about. Is Shedeur Sanders on the verge of being the most important player in Cleveland since Baker Mayfield walked in that door? Or is he showing us exactly what he is right now, which is a rookie in shorts doing rookie things against the defense that isn't playing real football yet? I want to know where you land. Drop it below, because that debate, that's going to define the first half of this Browns season.